And we are live, everyone. Hang on. Trying to get it all organized here. Thank you, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Alinker Inventions YouTube very first Small Biz Day live. We'd like to thank YouTube for selecting us as one of the only 21 companies to present here to you on this very, very special day. My name is B. Alink, as you might know me. I'm your host, and I'm the inventor of the Alinker, a three-wheeled walking bike. I designed it for who we are, active and engaged people, and I designed it for how we want to move, regardless of mobility issues. And today, you will get to know about what the Alinker is, how it came about, how it changes lives, and why we call it a vehicle for change. Behind me, you can see Karen, and Karen is one of the founders of the Liquid Gym in Ottawa, and also one of the founders of the Alinker Academy, as was developed, and we'll get to that later. But first, I would like to start with acknowledging on which lands I am today. I'm welcoming you today from Ottawa, Canada, situated on the unceded and traditional territories of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. At the Alinker, we honor Indigenous people, Indigenous values, and this land by using our business as a medium to raise awareness and speak our truths. We choose who we want to be so we can go beyond what we represent by the color of our skin. I acknowledge that I am an uninvited visitor on Turtle Island, and it is my responsibility to acknowledge, partner with, and honor Indigenous people to possibly become a welcome visitor to these lands. Please share the comments. Welcome to this live stream. Share the comments where you're joining from. And if you don't know on whose territories you are residing, please find it out, because it is important to know the land in which we live and honor the people who were here long before Europeans landed. Are you ready for an exciting half hour here with us? We put together a program that we hope will keep you glued to the screen and give you ample opportunity to engage with us, to get answers to your questions, and have the opportunity to learn about the Alinker company like never before. Keep an eye on the chat, because our team will add comments, links, and invites. Later in this live, there's a chance to get one of the unique Alinker t-shirts. So stay here, you can check all the links after the live later. Don't get confused with that right now. We aim for about half an hour live here, but we can completely run overtime. We probably will, because we always do. And we have more time for your questions. Give away some extra t-shirts, so stick around. We're in for some good times. As I said, behind me you can see Karen, who will, throughout the whole live, sort of illustrate and demonstrate what is possible on the Alinker. Many people get the Alinker to start with, and then they're like, oh, it's very challenging to go outside, but there's a lot of exercises, strengthening, stretching, range of motion that you can do on the Alinker while you're at home, getting familiar with it. So keep an eye on what Karen is doing, and I'll point out sometimes what she's doing, and that will give you a good idea. I'd like to introduce the moderators that you can see in the chat. They have a blue name and a little wrench behind it. That's the moderators. In our chat, that's half our team today. Molly, who handles our operations. Brandon, who lives on the Alinker family farm and will moderate the comments. Jennifer, our customer service specialist. And Stephanie, our community support. Now, Stephanie is monitoring all the questions. So if you have questions beyond customer service, but if you have questions for me or about the Alinker or about the Alinker company, put them in the chat. Stephanie will monitor them and bring them when I'm calling Stephanie to me, and I will answer them here live. And if you just tuned in, I am B. Alink, the inventor of the Alinker, a three-wheeled walking bike, designed for who we are, active and engaged people, designed for how we want to move regardless of mobilities, and stay with us, because you can win those beautiful unique Alinker t-shirts, and they're super soft. So let's get started. I'm gonna call Molly, because Molly said she had some questions for me, and then we can get it going. Oh, there's people from Switzerland and Germany and Japan.
Hello.
Oh, good morning, Molly. Can everybody hear Molly? Just put it in the chat quickly, and then I know whether it's loud enough. Hi, Molly. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
Where are you calling in?
YouTube Small Biz Day.
Thank you. Yes, and to you and the whole team here. Where are you calling in from today, Molly?
I am calling in from the traditional unceded territories of the William, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh Nations, also known as Vancouver, BC.
Okay, thank you. Hey, you had some questions for me, I believe.
I sure do. The first one is B. What is
Yes.
the Alinker? You describe it as a walking bike, but can you show us?
Yes. Well, actually, I mean, and you see Karen in the back on it. It's an overarching frame with two large front wheels, 16-inch, and a smaller rear wheel, and steering and a seat. That's really what it is. It's a list of a list of few. Now, I always call it like you're walking on wheels. It's a seat on a frame. You can walk, and I'll give you some benefits that it has. Physical benefits, no weight bearing on your joints. Physical exercise, go further with less fatigue. That's mostly what people with MS tell us. Social, you're at eye level, independent, and you've got agency. Emotional, you feel free, live and engage in active life, go out and about, be happy. An activation of the brain. Pressure on sit bones while walking activates the brain, and it allows the brain to make new neural pathways or reroute neural pathways, and this is essential for what the Alinker does. It's really quite amazing. Challenging assumptions on disability is the last one. People get confused at times because we assume that people with disabilities are not faster or cooler than others. Well, look again. So that's kind of what the Alinker in a nutshell is, Molly.
Amazing. And I definitely can echo that when I am out and about on my Alinker. People come up and say, wow, what is that amazing thing?
Right.
So.
Cool.
I've heard you say this over the years, but it kind of all started with a comment from your mom over my dead body. What happened when she said that?
My mom. I mean, she passed away last year, but boy, did she leave a legacy with that one comment. She said, now with that famous sentence, over my dead body. What a sentence to start a business anyway. When we were passing some people with electric scooters and rollators, and that comment made me aware that medical devices are designed as a technical solution for a body with a problem. Mobility devices create a social divide, and that for me is a justice issue. Like, why would we create a divide between people with and without disabilities? You know, we might have a body with a problem, but we are whole human beings who like to be active and engaged, regardless of our disabilities. So I set out to design something so cool that people would love to use it, and so cool that it would overcome the social divide between people with and without disabilities, and ultimately that makes the Alinker for me a justice issue.
Justice.
Such
a relevant, such a relevant topic today.
Mm-hmm.
And as a reminder, if anyone has any questions for B, please put them in the comments, and we'll have a moderator kind of standing by watching them, so B can directly answer them later. So any questions, put them in the comments now.
Mm-hmm.
B, do you have time for a couple more questions?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, we're here to enjoy time, and go ahead, shoot.
Okay. This is a simple one.
Oh, okay.
What is the most important thing that the Alinker has taught you over the years? Small question.
You think that might be a simple one. It's actually quite a systemic question. I'd like to answer it in a systemic way. Let's put it that way. This society is not built to support the wellness of us all, right? It's mostly an economic system that is geared towards making money, regardless of the consequences for people. It's not a kind system for people who are seen as a financial burden. And because that is how we are measured in this system. People with disabilities and illnesses, elderly people, are generally anything that doesn't create revenue. This society dismisses people, kicks them in the curb, and once you get a diagnosis or survive a stroke or the likes, you often lose your job. People start disappearing around you, your world gets smaller, and your medical bills skyrocket. When engaging with thousands of people over the years, we have learned that, to answer your question, social isolation is a way bigger problem than any of the physical stuff that people might be dealing with. Now, in my reverse design practices, I always say, like, isolation is not the problem to fix. It is a symptom of a system that measures people in productivity and economic value, and not in our wellness and well-being. You know, it's easy to do something else, showing up for other people, so I never understand why we can't just do that. You know, kindness is free. Showing up for others doesn't cost anything. We just need to choose that we want to be a kind person, and then build a community of kindness. That's attractive, and people want to be part of it. Like a while ago, to illustrate what happens when you create something that's attractive, a while ago I received a phone call from a woman who apologized for not having a disability, but could she please be part of the Alinker family? That was the way more than icing on a cake. That made me so happy, because it means that we're actually changing the paradigm. Right?
Yes, yeah, no, and actually, like, picking up on that last thought, changing a paradigm. Why do you refer to the Alinker as a vehicle for social change?
Well, you like those systemic questions, don't you, Molly? Wow. Well, the Alinker itself as a bike challenges the assumptions that people have about people with disabilities, and I love that. But beyond the bike itself, for me, it has to do with the systemic paradigm, as you say. This is very much the essence of my reverse design practices that motivated the creation of the Alinker itself. It's not fixing for a body with a problem, but designing for people and how we want to live. I always start with picking apart language, because language matters. But we rarely question the words that we use, and we should, because it brings awareness. Questioning language to me is crucial for becoming aware of who we actually are, what we contribute to with all our actions, and which destructive systems we continue to represent with all that we do, unless we uncondition ourselves. And this is important, especially in this time of pandemic and reopenings. We actually live in and 2 years ago, when I said the word white supremacy in #white supremacy in Facebook, I got blocked. Post disappeared. Now it's a very open issue, and most people understand that this system is based on white supremacist, capitalistic, patriarchal systems here in North America, mostly, where I can speak for. And we are conditioned in that system to play a role, to uphold it, with the result that only a few people / corporations have all the power and money over the back of all the rest. These systems cannot be fixed, because they really work well for the people who benefit, the ones in power. And as long as we try to fix them, we perpetuate them. You know, when you focus on the problem, Molly, all you see is a problem. Why would you do that? It's not a problem, and because you're either fixed on something that's actually not a problem. So we need to stop staring at the problems, really, is what I'm saying. They're just symptoms of the systems that are not designed for our well-being. We need to understand who we want to be, how we want to show up, and especially when we have a business, we can use our business as a force for good, to use our power to build something else, so the business becomes the vehicle for change. So the Alinker bike, yes, challenges assumptions, but the Alinker business, we build it in a way that it becomes a vehicle for change. And one thing on the question, just to illustrate that, take the word healthcare. We always talk about our healthcare system, but what we have is a system that kicks in once we're sick, is reactive, and predominantly medicates. That's not health, that's business, right? So once you call it sickness, you become aware that we actually don't have a healthcare system. Because health to me is what supports wellness, social determinants of health, which you might have heard about, being mobile, living in community, eating healthy, right? That sounds all healthy. And you can tell people to be more active, or to be in community, or to eat healthier, but if people don't have access to those things, then it doesn't matter what you say. So once we realize that in our business, we build our whole company on building access to mobility, community, and healthy food. To mobility through making Alinkers available through the rent-to-own at 0%, offering gently used Alinkers for 75% of the price, and we do crowdfunding campaigns with people, and I'll get back to that later. Access to community, we employ Alinker users for our customer service, because it only makes sense to. they live the life of a Alinker user, so of course that's the best employees that you can have. And they do the customer service and support these campaigns, and through the Alinker Academy, of course, with online 20 hours online classes that Karen and the Alinker and the Liquid Gym have developed. And then access to healthy food, that's a whole different story. And later, like about in half an hour, at the end of the half hour, we'll talk with Brandon on the family farm, on the Alinker family farm in Kentucky. So does that answer your questions, Molly? Whoops.
Well, it illustrates just how much is behind that phrase, vehicle for change.
Right.
And it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, B.
Yeah, you're welcome, Molly. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you later. And this is, I feel that we just started, but we're already half the hour. But it's a reminder to, I'd like to remind that you have a chance to win Alinker t-shirts. Those beautiful t-shirts here. So stay with us. But before we're going further, I'd like to call Terry Klein. And she will introduce herself because I'm super happy, super stoked that she's here. Terry is an Alinker user since only January. I had the feeling I've known her for years. But Terry will introduce herself. Hey, Terry.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm very well. Where are you, Terry?
I'm in San Francisco,
Okay.
California.
Okay.
And but I spend the majority of my time being down in Palo Alto at Stanford, where I'm a professor in biomedical data science and medicine.
Okay. And tell the people on the live, and we've got 108 people on the live right now, which is amazing. But tell the people on the live a little bit why, like, when did you get to use the Alinker and why you're on this call with me, actually?
I could say it's for self-promotion for my own work, but I will refrain from doing that. That is what academics like to do. We like to promote ourselves. But actually, I'm delighted to be given the opportunity to share my experience, which has not been as long as some people. I have only been on the Alinker for about 4 months. I waited for 3 months to get it. I am significantly have significant problems with walking and or standing and mobility, and this is really a critical problem. For example, in my business. So at Stanford, for example, I don't know how many people are familiar with the Stanford campus, but it's about 8,000 acres.
8,000 acres.
Central campus.
Wow.
Yeah, so the central campus alone. And so, and I have 2 offices and 3 labs, none in the same building. And so that means I am constantly going from meeting to meeting to meeting with students, meeting with faculty, etc. And on crutches, it can usually take me a half an hour to get from one spot to another. And as people know, if you're on crutches, you're constantly looking down, which is not great for your posture.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to hold a conversation with anybody. And so the Alinker has really provided me on campus that ability to multitask, which is what I do, meet with my students, meet with my colleagues, get to meetings, be able to give lectures because I can roll right into the lecture hall.
Cool.
I don't have to worry about falling. And the other side of it is, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm in a field that's internationally known, and I have had to curtail a lot of my travel and giving lectures. Now, granted, under COVID, a lot of us have curtailed our travel, but that's changing. And so what the Alinker can provide for me, and which I just said yesterday, in fact, to a keynote lecture, is to getting back on the plane, right? So the ability to travel is huge. And if my work is not effective if we don't disseminate, the information and the research that we do, just like it is not effective for people not to know about the Alinker. And so I'm delighted to provide my experience that it has made a world of difference.
That's fantastic.
And not just on a professional side. I want to also emphasize the other side, which some other people have already referred to, the ability, for example, to get aerobic exercise, the ability to have independence, the ability to see yourself whole again. And I can't, the psychological aspects are as or more important, in fact, than the physical aspect. And
that's
so
amazing,
I think
Terry.
seeing everything as a whole is huge.
Yeah. Hey, and can you tell me a little bit about what your work at Stanford would be like if you didn't have an Alinker? Because as a professor, as you said, you zip around from building to different areas for meetings and to work with students. But what would it be without the Alinker? And are you faster than other professors?
Well, I actually am faster. I have been trying to get. I'm like, come on, guys, let's move it along. Because you're dragging me down. I'm moving faster than you. Actually, I curtailed a number of my activities over the last 3 years due to my inability, my lack of mobility. It was just too difficult. And so this has opened up the brand new opportunities for me. And in fact, many of my colleagues, even during COVID, will complain about the fact that I'm taking Zoom calls while I'm out on the Alinker.
That's fantastic. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Because you know, regaining that strength is hard, and I just wanted to encourage people who are not. I was a cyclist, so for me, I did not have the transition problems. But I want to encourage everyone to know that even if you are having issues, there are ways around it. There are modifications. You know, the Alinker team is great at helping you with that individually, and you will get there. So don't drop it. It will change your life. I can't emphasize that enough.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you for being on this live with us. And I'm very much looking forward to being way more engaged with you in the future. And that comes to big announcements once we can make them, right?
Exactly. And I look forward to actually trying to develop evidence-based medicine that supports the Alinker to show what we all know empirically.
We're very much looking forward to that. Thank you so much. Terry, have a fantastic day. And yeah, talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Well.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
That was amazing. Oh, Terry. We're moving into the first questions for the t-shirt giveaway. So here's the deal. I'm going to give you a number, a phone number, and that you can find that in the chat as well. I'm going to ask quick questions, and you have to text the answer, very often just one word, and only the one word. Text it to that phone number, and one person will collect the answers. The third person who gives the right answer will get the t-shirt, one of those t-shirts. And we say the third person because not everybody is as fast with texting, and to keep it as inclusive as possible, the third person with the right answer will get a t-shirt, and we'll do that 15 times, 3 rounds of 5 questions. And we will announce the Alinkers not in this, of the winners not in this live, but we'll announce them in the newsletter of the next Saturday of this weekend. So if you want to find out who got an Alinker t-shirt, please sign up for the newsletters. And then here are the questions. Okay. Some of them for our Alinker insiders, some of them are for everybody who just paid attention to what I was saying. So, first question: what is the first name of my mom? 2. What is the Alinker? What is it that the Alinker company builds beyond the bikes? And as you see, Molly will also put in the questions in the chat. So don't think you're keeping up. It's all good. Molly puts them in the chat. In which city am I today? 1 word. In which state is the Alinker family farm located? And what is the color of the Alinker? 5 questions. Text the answer to the phone call, to the phone number in the chat. Okay. And I want to talk a little bit more about the campaigns, but to put everything in perspective, I just realized that it is not even 5 years ago that the first container with Alinkers landed in North America. Next October is it 5 years ago that the first container arrived. And that just blew my mind because it feels that we've been here for a long time already. I mentioned earlier how we built this company to create access to mobility. Oops, I just gave a question away. To mobility, community, and healthy food. What we quickly learned is that we do not have that healthcare system I talked about, but the sick care system that drives people into poverty. We don't believe in fixing systems that are not built for us. Instead, we build our company to create access to mobility in a very unique way. We were the very first company to integrate crowdfunding in our website so people can start their own crowdfunding campaign. There's not a waiting list right now, so you can absolutely start your campaign and get on. To date, we have completed 178 campaigns, which totally blows my mind. Thinking about 178 people that had never access to an Alinker have their Alinkers now, and many of them are on the call. I just saw that in the chat. We employ Alinker users to help you support with the campaigns, and I'm actually going to call Stephanie right now, who is one of those campaigners, but she has a very special story to share with you. So I'll let Stephanie do the talking here.
Hello, good morning, Dee.
Oh, hi, Stephanie. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, hi, Stephanie. Good morning. How are you? I am excellent. How are you?
Can you turn off the sound of your computer, please?
Yep, I just did.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Hey, Stephanie, you've been monitoring some questions of people in the chat, but before we go there, can you say a little bit more about why you did a campaign and what happened when you completed? Because that was quite special, I believe.
Absolutely, yes, it was. It was incredible. I decided to start a campaign because I was at kind of a tough spot in my life where I had just moved after 30 years all by myself, and my mobility was decreasing, and I knew no one to help me. And I had been looking at the Alinker for quite some time and hadn't been able to afford it, but I thought, oh gosh, I'm just going to look again. And lo and behold, the last time I looked, you guys were doing crowdfunding.
Right.
And so I signed up for a crowdfunding campaign, and the team helped me through that process.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me it was rather intimidating because I didn't have a lot of support around me, so I wasn't sure that it would work for me.
Thank you for saying that, because many people feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I had lost a lot of people in my life because I lost my mobility, as many of us do. Mm-hmm. And so I wasn't sure it would work, but with the support of the team, it was great. I was able to my campaign, and I became the number 100 campaigner, which was just amazing.
Right, and I remember when you completed, I happened to be in the house of Selma Blair, and for the people online that don't know, but Selma Blair uses an Alinker and posted herself on an Instagram, and then our Instagram exploded 2 years ago. But I happened to be in Selma's house, doing the photo shoot for the CEO magazine, where we were on the cover, and then we called you, but you didn't know where I was.
No, it was a complete surprise, and I am a big Selma Blair fan, so I had a total fangirl geek moment.
Right. Yeah, and it was funny because I first called you and you didn't know, and then after a minute or something, I got Selma in the picture, and you just freaked out. It was so fun. But yeah, this photo shoot worked well, and I just think it's perfect how that coincided with you completing the 100th campaign. That was fantastic.
It's amazing, and it's been an amazing journey ever since then. I got my Alinker very quickly after that, and started working on getting moving, and then eventually became a part of the Alinker team.
Yeah.
And
well, we learned a little bit about your skills and experience, and it only made sense to offer you a job as soon as possible, because that's exactly what we needed at that moment in the team. Hey, but being on the team, you just monitored some questions from the people in the chat. Is there some questions that I need to answer, that I could answer here?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some different out there. One question is asked, can you elaborate a little bit on brain activation?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. The Alinker.
Well, it is something that in the medical system that predominantly medicates, as we said before, is very often not given a lot of attention because, well, it doesn't make money. It's a bit blunt of me to say, but it's kind of true. And on the Alinker, you sit with your sit bones on the back edge of the seat, and this is very important, as your pelvis tilts a little bit and your spine opens up and becomes a highway to the body. How we walk is that we send intentions to our legs. They're translated by our nerves and to our muscles, and then we start walking. The feedback loop, though, is hugely important. So if we move our legs, let's say Karen cannot move her legs, but with the bungee cord, she can pull her legs forward and sort of imitate the movement of walking. The brain gets messages and information about like, oh, something is happening there. I'm going to try and connect with what's happening there, because that's what the brain wants to do. The brain wants to work. You just need to activate it so it can reroute neural pathways, create neural pathways. So, and the brain can do that. So why not use the brain to do that? And there's more and more information coming out, and that is one of the things that we like to do with the research in Stanford, is sort of prove what's happened, because I can say things, but I invented Alinker, and then people can have a lot of experiences, but it's still not the medical evidence that people would like or that people believe. But the testimonials, the things that we hear people say, people with MS often say, which alludes to this, I feel tired after using the Alinker, but I feel energized. And if you can reroute neural pathways, possibly around lesions, then you can go around the obstacles, but the brain can only do that when it's activated. And it's Dr. Gretchen, we had her a while ago in the Zoom call, really talks about that. She's an MS specialist, and so check that out, Dr. Gretchen. But that's the essence of activation of the brain. Does that answer your question?
That's amazing, and that's my experience with it. And I think you have a past newsletter that addresses that as well,
yes.
Correct?
I actually had a few.
Anybody out there can look at that.
Right. I actually had a series of newsletters on activating the brain. Yeah.
Awesome. We're also getting a couple questions about you and your design style. Somebody was asking, when in your life did you feel the pull to embrace your mission, and how did you come to your philosophy of reverse design?
Oh, what a beautiful question. Well, that first part of the question, I don't know. I've just always been this way. And I think I learned to look at the world differently with some comments that my grandma instilled in me. She always said, like, if you see a problem, then move around and look at it from the other side. It might not be a problem. And she also said, make it a practice in your life to every day choose somebody, a person that you can think of or a person that you meet that doesn't feel that comfortable. Somebody who walks different than you, somebody who looks differently than you, and fit on their shoes for a little bit. Just as a practice of empathy. I think that's what I made of it later, but my grandma made it a fun game. Like, just take somebody's shoes that doesn't feel comfortable, slip them on and see how that feels. See how the world looks from their shoes. So that's kind of been my life's practice. And it really makes me look at things differently, because it's not about me. It's about us and how we can do something better together that we can all be happy, because why not? It doesn't cost anything, right? It's just a choice.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, they're asking if they can just walk on the Alinker to see how it moves.
Absolutely, yes. Karen, there's a question for you to show behind there what it looks like when you move on the Alinker. And now the sign is a little bit in the way, but there's a lot of videos on YouTube that we have that illustrate that. So check out our YouTube channel, the Alinker Inventions, that you're on right now, actually. And you can see many videos of people with all various abilities, how they use the Alinker and how that works. At the Alinker Academy, they also put the Alinker on a treadmill, and and use that for rehabilitation, which is something that you might not necessarily think about, but is a very good way to start rehabilitation, because you're forced to move your legs as the treadmill moves, and you're completely safe and secure on the Alinker. Stephanie, you're gonna continue to, we're all way over time. We're just having too much fun here, but you're gonna monitor the answers of the questions, and we might come back to you at the end for one more question, okay?
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, bye.
Bye.
And then we're going directly into calling Anna. And after Anna, we've got the other questions to win Alinker t-shirts. Like, we timed this whole thing, we practiced this, and it was way shorter, but clearly we're having too much fun. And the fact that we're actually live makes me a little bit more nervous. So, oh well, we're running over time. But I'm gonna call Anna. And Anna has been a Alinker user for quite some years, but she will tell us a little bit more about that. And she might have some reflections as well, because she's got MS on the activation of her brain. And we're calling Anna.
Hello.
Anna, hello, how are you? You're live on YouTube. How are you, Anna?
I'm doing very well, B. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, we're running a little bit over time, but I'd really like you to share how long you've used the Alinker, what it does to you, and what life would be if you wouldn't have the Alinker right now.
Okay, I couldn't make out exactly what you said, but you wanted me to explain what the Alinker does for me. Do I have that correctly?
That's absolutely right, yes.
Okay, B, the first thing I want to say is I'm out with the Alinker right now. I'm at a park. It's called Lake Quinsigamon, which happens to be the territory of the Nipmuc tribe. So I'm very proud of that. But
Nice.
The thing is, typically, I wouldn't be able to get here because there's lots of nooks and crannies to get around. Typically, I would say to my friends, you know what, I can't really make it. I'm not feeling well, because I hate to say that I can't do anything. So I kind of hide it. But with my Alinker, it allows me to go into places that I would normally not be able to go. First of all, let me say, I do have multiple sclerosis.
Okay.
I've had it since 2006, and it's really cramped my style, to say the least. I used to be a marathon runner. So for me to not be able to do stuff is really terrible. But I'll tell you, I'm out here with my friends. We're playing ukulele. We're actually entertaining a bunch of people. I actually excuse myself because it would be a little loud. We have a lot of fun. But
Nice.
It's helped me immensely. It really has. It's changed my life. She lives in my car. I call her she. She's called Linka.
Linka.
Because I'm from, well, I live in Boston. So in Boston, if anybody knows, we drop our R's.
Yes.
So instead of the Alinker, she is Linka.
Linka.
So she's my girl. And we get all over. I mean, everybody knows me by the Alinker. So if that answers your question,
Absolutely.
it fulfills my life. It's made it so full. I can't tell you. I mean, I'd be on with you for hours telling you about my adventures on Linka. So she's opened up a whole new world to me.
That's fantastic.
And I can't thank you enough. And it's just amazing how much it does for me.
That's absolutely wonderful to hear, Anna. And thank you for sharing it here online with us on YouTube Small Biz Day, as we're running way over time, but I'm super happy that you could join us here and share a little bit. And I'll talk to you later.
You got it. Thanks, B.
Enjoy your day, Anna. All right.
Thanks. Keep it rolling.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Yes, we do know a lot of our customers, and we become friends. It's weird, but I know how many people, but you know, like Anna, I've been following her for 4 years, and we've become friends, and I do love her, so that's what I share. Okay, time to do a few more questions. As you know, type the answer, text the answer to the phone number. 5 questions quickly. Molly will put them in the chat, so you're not missing them. Stephanie was campaign number. What is the price of the Alinker in US dollars? does the Alinker have pedals? What does the Alinker activate? And what do you need to break in when starting to use the Alinker? And that might need some explanation, but we can't do that here because then I would give you the answer to the question. What do you need to break in when starting to use the Alinker? And it takes some time. But hey, we're getting some peanut gallery comments here on the, okay, well, that question, third person that answers it right, text. That's the only thing that counts. I don't care for the rest. So I hope you're enjoying what we're doing here. We're having a great time here. I mean, it's fun to see Wonder Woman poses behind me done on the Alinker. But we always say that it's not about the bike. For the individuals that use the Alinker, of course it is. But for us as a company, we use our business as a vehicle for change. Lastly, I'd like to call Brandon. Because Brandon and Emily are the two people that live on the Alinker family farm. And you might think like, what, a farm? I thought you were selling bikes. That's what we usually get. So we made a little animated video to explain that. But Brandon lives on the Alinker family farm and will explain a little bit what it means for him to now have access to food that he's growing.
Hello, B.
Good morning, or afternoon rather. Brandon, how are you?
I am great, and this is so much fun. Welcome everybody to Small Business Day.
Ah, fantastic. Yes. And for everybody here, Brandon is one of our team members. He was a campaigner. Tell us a little bit more, Brandon.
Well, I was one of the first people that was on Instagram. I completely misunderstood the campaigning. Ended up doing one on GoFundMe instead of with Alinker, and it wasn't going so well. It didn't look like we were complete until someone stepped in and kind of saved the day. And Selma Blair ended up donating an Alinker to me, and the rest is history.
That's kind of a thing to happen for if you have a campaign that's sort of stalled. It's like, oops, Selma gave you one. What an incredible thing that Selma came on board with us. That has changed so many lives, and so many people learned about the Alinker because of Selma. Brendan, are you still there?
Sorry, you were breaking up. I didn't hear you.
Okay. I said, what an incredible thing that Selma joined us and what she has meant for our community. It seems we're having a bit problems with the connection with Brendan.
I apologize, and everyone on YouTube.
Brendan, we hear you, so why don't you share a little bit about the Alinker family farm and how that came about?
How you met me?
Yes.
Yeah, so after completing my campaign, because of the lovely Selma Blair, I wasn't just trying to get up and move. I wanted to be well. I wanted my health back. But wellness is more than just movement. So I started my journey to wellness and realized that I was in a food desert and didn't have access to the foods that I needed to support my journey to wellness.
Right.
And I also became painfully aware that was true for my community and everyone around me who decided that they wanted to change the journey to wellness, that wasn't accessible to them. So when I told my new friend B, the inventor of the Alinker, she didn't see a problem. You saw a way to build community, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're building a community that's going to support those journeys to wellness right here in my town in Kentucky.
So now you live on the Alinker family farm, and what happened in just the last few months? What are you eating now from the farm already? What have you done?
Oh, it's so much. That first thing we had to do was clear away everything that was here. This is where I grew up, where the Alinker family farm is, and the lights here weren't the best. So what we've switched to now, after a year of cleaning away trash and demolishing old buildings, we are now, we have our first greenhouses up. We have a flock of 30 birds that supplies us farm fresh eggs and also is working to rebuild our soil. But now we get to eat tomatoes and broccoli, Brussels sprouts,
Amazing.
squash, all grown here on the farm. And we don't have our first crop from our fruit tree, but we have a newly planted Alinker orchard with almost 30 fruit trees of different varieties. It's going to really give us fresh organic food.
That's fantastic. And you're in the middle of what they call a food desert. You're about 40 miles away from the next supermarket where you can get some kind of fresh food. Still not local, but fresh food. That is a problem. Whole food security in the US, but in Canada as well, is an issue. And it is really important that people have closer access to healthy, local, and fresh food. So I'm so happy you're doing that. And we're totally thrilled to have the Alinker family farm be part of what we call the vehicle for social change.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a journey that has truly blessed my life, and I can't wait for it to bless the community around me. If anyone wants to learn anything more, please visit alinkerfamilyfarm.org, where you can learn all sorts of cool stuff about it.
Yep. Maybe somebody can put that in the chat, or Brandon, you can do that after we stop calling. Alinkerfamilyfarm.org, and you can see the whole. There's some pictures and background and what we're planning to do there, and I'm very excited about it. So thank you so much for being there and for being part of us.
Couldn't be more excited to be a part of something.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you all.
All right. Bye. Oh my God. That is, I'm just so happy with that. Okay. Brandon, if you want to know more, go to that website. 5 more questions for t-shirts. And I have a very special announcement actually for one of our guests here that relates to Anna, and I just forgot to say that to Anna. But Anna has a friend called Macaulay, and Macaulay really, anyway, it's just a special story, and I won't elaborate on that here. But the t-shirt with Selma Blair behind Karen there is a very special t-shirt from Nunu, which supported one of the campaigns. That t-shirt will go to Macaulay. So Macaulay, you got that t-shirt, and we'll give you an Alinker t-shirt as well. Last 5 questions for everybody else to get chance of one of those t-shirts. Which TV show was the Alinker featured on? And again, text it to that phone number in the chat. 3rd person with the right answer gets the t-shirt. Which celebrity says the Alinker is a game changer? How many campaigns have been completed to date? What is the tagline of the Alinker company? And what does the Alinker, what date does the Alinker price go up? Because the prices do go up at the end of this inventory. The inventory runs out. That's the end of the current prices. Because of the whole pandemic and the situation in Taiwan, we are forced to increase our prices. It's all going through the roof. And we're very sorry. We'd like to keep it the same, but we cannot. So what date does the price of the Alinker go up? And the best way, and we will announce all the winners of the t-shirts in our next newsletter this weekend somewhere, and sign up for the newsletter. That is the very best way to get all the updates, information, shares from people, much like what we did today, but then in the newsletter. And yeah, then we'll announce all the winners of the t-shirts there. Stephanie, we're at 50 minutes. Okay, but who cares? We're having fun. There's still 125 people on the live. Apparently, we're doing something that is enjoyable. So we're just not in any hurry to go away here. But Stephanie, do you have another question from the chat? And just put a quick yes in the chat, and otherwise, then I'm going to call you. Molly says, can Karen demo on and off the Alinker? Oh, Karen, how you get on and how you get off, because people like to know. Yeah? Cool. So the brake goes on. There's a parking brake.
first step.
Yeah.
And then you just lift up.
You can just lift up and slide off.
It's a small wheel. We don't have to lift our leg.
Yeah.
We just
So in fact, you stand behind the bike and you walk over top of the seat.
or we can just release the brake. So now
Release the brake.
Now I just stand.
Yeah. I hope that's
It all
clear.
depends on balance.
Yeah. Oh, Stephanie says, yes, there's one more question. Then that will be the last of this live. One more question from the chat. And for the rest, we are gathering all the answers that people might, or all the questions that people might have, and I'll answer them in the newsletter of next weekend. So bear with us. You will get answers to your questions. Yes, Stephanie.
Hello, B.
Hi, again.
There have been so many amazing questions and comments going through the chat that it's hard to pick and choose.
Mm-hmm.
Please, I want to let everybody know, first of all, if you have comments or questions that we haven't been able to answer, to email us or get in contact with us, because we will answer your questions.
Yes, absolutely.
We just can't do it all right here. But I did have a question from somebody who wanted to know, are there any new developments in the works for Alinker? Any different sizes? Any different
Yes.
accessories? All those kinds of things.
Yeah. We have an Happy Small, and we have the XS, which is the extra small for taller kids. The prototypes have been tested, and they're here, and one is in Australia, and then the pandemic happened, and I'm so sad that the whole pandemic just stalled new products. It's just impossible to get new products in production. There's a minimum order quantity that goes through the roof. We're lucky that we have the normal Alinkers, the small and the medium, in production, and that we don't really run out. I mean, we'll have some small gaps, but we'll continuously have the general Alinkers. New products, it's really hard, and you can read articles about that online about supply chains in Taiwan and the bike industry. It is heavily under pressure. Small parts, the demand for bicycles has gone up a lot, and so parts are impossible to get. And people said, "I come back in 2023." In the meantime, we're trying to get an investor interested in putting a dump load of money into the development of an Alinker 2.0, which would allow people up to £450 to use the Alinker. And this is a question that we're getting really often, and it's crazy to me that there is nothing non-stigmatizing designed for people that are heavier, while in the United States, 67% of people are overweight. And there is, I say it again because it sounds so crazy, there is nothing non-stigmatizing designed for people that are heavier. At the same time, I refuse to make a bariatric Alinker, because then it just adds to the stigma. So I want to design an Alinker 2.0 that is so cool that everybody would want to use it, and it just happens to hold 450 pounds. But that takes money and time, and that's happening, and it takes time. I mean, the current Alinkers took 14 prototypes and about 4.5 years to develop. Those processes are not easy and not cheap. So yes, they're in the works, and yes, it might take a few more years. Does that answer your question, Steph?
Awesome, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one other question for you.
Last one.
I've had a question. Yes. I've had some people asking that their physical therapists and others like that don't know about the Alinker, and why is that? Are we advertising to physical therapists?
Not specifically. Our experience is that because we're not a medical device either, And I don't want to be a medical device because now we're selling for just under 2,000 US. If this was a medical device through certified suppliers and that whole industry, we would have to sell for 2.5, 3 times as much. And that's not to the benefit of the user. So I refuse to go that way. So no, it's not necessarily tailoring to the community of physiotherapists. What our experience is that physiotherapists only believe the benefits once they see somebody on it and see the benefits. Like Terry, we just talked to Terry, the professor from Stanford, who came to her surgeon, and her surgeon sees what she's able to do right now, and didn't see that before. And so if you would have proposed the Alinker to him, he would have said like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't know. When he sees the difference it makes for a customer, that is when everything changes. So no, we never tailor to the medical world itself, always through users.
Thank you. Yes. So if you have a physical therapist that you want to know about the Alinker, show them our website, show them our video.
Yes. And we are a small.
Works, right?
Yeah, and we are still a small company. Like what I said somewhere in the live. In October, it's only 5 years ago that the first container arrived in North America. It's less than 5 years that we're in the market. So there's some, what is that, just over 4,000 Alinkers out in the world now?
Yeah.
We just did the count. I thought it was more, but no, 4,000 or something. We're doing, like, that exposure is already amazing for the short time that we're here. So yes, help us spread the word. That's exposure is that people get to know about it. That's the good thing about being on a YouTube live today. It's like people get to know about it, and it's a different thing, right? It's it requires a mindset. It's not just the next medical device.
It's way more than that. And I do want to say a lot of people are commending Karen on doing exercises throughout this entire hour. And
right? She'll be sore tomorrow. Yeah, no, Karen is absolutely amazing, and showing all those exercises that you can also see on the Alinker Academy. Alinkeracademy.com is a website with the classes, and all the instruction videos are for free on YouTube on our channel. And there's we'll share the link as well. All right, everybody.
And very quickly, I just want to remind people for the T-shirts to please text, not call that number. People trying to call that number, your calls won't be answered. It's a text-only number.
It's a text-only number. The answer, the questions are all in the chat. Text the answer to that number, and the third person with the right answer gets a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie. Man, what a...
Thank you, B.
Thank you so much. Talk to you later. Bye, Stephanie. Bye. All right, everyone. Oh, what an hour this was. It's nearly an hour now. Oops, sorry. That was supposed to be only half an hour. Oh, well. There's so much to share. There's even many things that we haven't even talked about. But sign up for the newsletter. That is the way to get all the information and to stay informed, to get the latest developments, availability of linkers, connect with other people, etc., etc. So sign up for the newsletters. Thank you so much for being here with us, and have a great rest of the day. Don't be a stranger. We're here together in kindness, and remember, together we move differently. Thank you very much, and thank you, Karen. Bye-bye, everyone.